Last Sunday morning at the Climate Justice meeting, I shared how I had spent time during the week thinking seriously about education, responsibility, advocacy, and activism. I accept that all four of these are necessary, but my thinking got stuck. It got stuck on education. Have I ever received education to enable me to live out my faith in my community? Not that I remember. I come to church, listen, and accept that it was a good sermon in explaining what the readings for the morning were. I may tell the priest or the person who preached that it was a good sermon. But we have coffee or morning tea. Do we talk about the sermon? Probably today football will be the discussion. When we go out those doors and we go home, or wherever we are going. Was I educated on this particular morning on how to put what I heard into action? Let's listen to those readings this morning. Happy are those whose delight is in the law of God. They are like trees planted by streams of water. They will not get thirsty. There is water. And then we have God of love teaches us the heart of the law, empower us to love with our whole being and to love our neighbour as ourselves. Amen. What if I don't like my neighbour? And I don't like myself. And believe it or not, but those two often go together. Hand up if you can remember exactly what the Leviticus reading was this morning. One person. Thank you. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to all the congregations of the people of Israel and say to them, you shall be holy, for the Lord your God is holy." Goodness gracious me, it gets more difficult. How do I become holy? Please forgive me if I am treading on some toes. Then we have the gospel. Great. Somebody's actually game enough to ask Jesus a question. He said to them, "Teacher, which commandment in the law is greatest?" And Jesus replied, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with your entire mind. This is the greatest and first commandment, and you must love your neighbour as yourself." When I get home, or wherever I'm going, I get asked, "How was church?" And inevitably the answer I give is, "It was fine. The music was great." How do I explain? And believe me, I have the best intentions in the world while I am sitting in church listening. You see, I intend to live those laws. But there are some people who get under my skin and my best intentions go out the door. My intention of being a disciple has once again failed me. Now I'm going to try and help myself and you to understand a little bit more. I share some thoughts from Bishop Richard Randolph from a sermon he preached just a couple of weeks ago in Wellington. He says, faith is not primarily an intellectual belief in creeds, doctrines, liturgies, music, icons, or a cross. These things are merely signposts whose usefulness is measured by the extent to which they lead us to an experience of God and to discipleship. If they are meaningful for you or me, they will lend us to discipleship if we allow them. Those are great words, if we choose to allow them. And then Dag Hammarskjöld, Second Secretary General of the United Nations, says, I don't know who or what put the question. I don't know when it was put. I don't even remember answering. But at some time I did answer yes to someone or something. And from that hour, I was certain that existence is meaningful and that therefore my life in self-surrender had a goal. Our existence is meaningful and we have a goal to be disciples when we leave here and walk out those doors this morning. I'm changing directly. Every Saturday morning, I get one of these on my computer. And it is from a ministry of Episcopal Church of St. John the Baptist in USA. And I just want to share the prayer. If I shared all of it with you, we'd be here till 12 o'clock. But I just want to share two short passages with you. And I thought it was a he, but I'm deciding it's a she. My maternal grandparents wanted to immigrate to Israel, growing up as extremely poor Jews in Poland. In 1920, they were barely out of their teens when they caught the dream of a safe homeland for Jews, governed not only by hereditary leaders, but by the people, and with no ships willing to transport Jews to what the British Mandate then called Palestine. They ended up immigrating to the United States instead. But for this accident of fate, it could have been me, caught in the middle of the conflict between Israel and Hamas. And so, for an accident of geography, I could have been a peacemaker, a peace wisher in this troubled land. I could have been shared a moment of grief, of consolation with someone on the other side. I could have been a mother, catching the eyes of another across a public space and knowing that the bonds of motherhood transcended all the worlds of difference. I could have worked in one of the hospitals, serving the injured from all sides. I could have been a member of one of the many groups working to build friendships and understanding Palestine and Israelis, Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Maybe I could have been a rabbi, and Naaman, a priest, storming the heavens with prayers for peace. It could have been me. It could have been any of us in any country. It could be all of us. Peace, shalom, salam. Lord, have mercy. Amen.